Welcome back to the Eric Krown Crypto channel. Wishing you a happy and healthy start to this Saturday morning over here as we get prepared for some more boring price action. That's right, baby. We got some more boring sandpaper sideways price action going on, of which I expect it to probably continue a little bit longer. In fact, we'll talk about a bit of timing as to when to expect resolution on a major, massive move, as I think many people are waiting for. And then other than that, we get to play the very fun game right now over the weekend, probably coming to this next week. Will it bounce? Will it bounce yet again? It's like that stupid show that Elsa and I were watching on Netflix the other night. It was called Is It Cake? And this fucking stupid, this host guy is just insufferable. Anyways, let me turn on my light over here. It's probably a little bit too dark in the old cave. And I think it's time to just jump right on into it. Before actually I get into it, I should announce that Bybit still has a promotion going on. And I just got word that it does include 0% fees for maker orders on both spot and derivative contracts. Just to be 100% clear with that. All right, sweet. So let's pop in over here. Let's start off with the lower term timeframes first. Do a bit of a recap of the last few days and basically what we were looking at from yesterday. Yesterday, we were getting a lot of momentum oscillator signals alongside hidden bearish divergence on very short-term timeframes. That did suggest that Bitcoin was going to take a nice little leg down, but not confirm any sort of a higher-term timeframe macro breakdown. I still believe that the path of most destruction, aka the path of most pain, as people like to call it, is sideways. It may be for a little bit longer here. I do think that we're starting to wear out our welcome, or Bitcoin starting to wear out its welcome within this range, but still maybe another week. I think at most 2 weeks, but maybe one more week. Anyways, in this case, so we had a nice little move down to the top end of the blue box right here. Yep, that's about what we were looking for. Anywhere within that would have been fine. But still, I refrain from calling any sort of major breakdown, in this case, a macro breakdown, as long as Bitcoin's doing one of two things: closing dailies above 18,100, the range lows there, or just doesn't tick below last week's low on CME, which was like 17,810, I believe. Anyways, in this case, the short-term ranges are basically the same. I'll map them out right here on spot price action for the weekend. And what do we have? To the downside, we got about 18,950 to 19,000 bucks on the short term. And then to the upside, we still have about 19,800 right here. That last local high that we did see, this was coming in from last week, I do believe. So as long as Bitcoin's between there, it's only short-term time frame plays, mediated by the 19,450-ish region right here, meaning that if Bitcoin does close above on even an hourly time frame, I'd be looking for a retest back around this prior, or not this prior, but this week that we're playing out right now is high, which brings you somewhere around that 19.7-ish number. But again, that doesn't really do too much other than that. And of course, as long as Bitcoin's below it, it's still within kind of a tricky territory. But as we do get to play this game of will Bitcoin bounce? Well, what are the indications showing right now? Well, a lot of things on the lower term timeframes actually. So first and foremost, watching BBWP, which is our volatility-based indicator over here, we are observing still extreme lows. So there's been no expansion despite yesterday's short-term timeframe downside move, which is why I really want to harp on that point. That is very important, at least in my experience, to be waiting for a major closure above or below these range highs and range lows, especially to the downside, because that is going to imply a much greater move to the downside in this case. Still 6-hour time frame on extreme lows here. 4-hour time frame also on extreme lows and probably going to contract a little bit more. 3-hour time frame, same thing, as you can see. And hourly is it's actually on the extreme lows as well. So all lower term time frames and medium term time frames and higher term time frames kind of in unison with each other. Right now on the hourly, it does look like Bitcoin probably takes another test, maybe somewhere back around yesterday's high, 19,250. But now we're getting such in the weeds of short term time frames here that I just don't feel it's that actionable. But there is something to be aware of on the other side, however, and that is going to be the 4-hour time frame right here. There is potential for hidden bearish divergence, and mark that I did say potential, not confirmed. How would you actually confirm this? Well, you need to see a 4-hour closure or at least an hourly closure below about 19,000 bucks. And then yes, you'd confirm this as a local high. That's a lower high in comparison to this local high that we saw over here. And Bitcoin probably comes back down and maybe tests somewhere around yesterday's low, something like that. But same thing as before, still reframed to call major downside continuation time-wise until we do see a major close below that region. By the same token, as we do reference these ranges yet again, I haven't really spoken about what to expect if Bitcoin does pop back above. What's this last week's high? It's the 13th of October is that I'm referencing right here. If Bitcoin were to trade above that high, then yes, I would be looking for a return back up towards the daily range highs, which puts Bitcoin somewhere around about that 20,300 to 20,500-ish number. Obviously, there's potential for more continuation, but I want to come back to things after that. Anyways, while we're here on the lower term timeframes, let's now go reference stochastic momentum, see if there's anything of particular obviousness. And let's start it off with the 12-hour timeframe. Where's the current pivot? Current pivot is actually to the downside and will remain to the downside as long as Bitcoin's below 19,240. 6-hour timeframe is going to be showing upside as long as Bitcoin's above 18,800. 4-hour timeframe is going to be showing upside as well as long as Bitcoin's above 18,750. So we're seeing these numbers kind of pop in a few times here. 3-hour timeframe is also going to be up as long as Bitcoin's about 19,000, and the hourly is actually going to be down as long as Bitcoin's below 19,220. So a bit of bifurcation there, but short term, does Bitcoin try a little bit of sideways and try a little bit of an upside move? Probably yes, but again, very, 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 very short term time frame stuff right here, and the possibility for a potential hidden bearish divergence on the 4-hour time frame remains. Again, confirmed below about 19,000 bucks on a closing basis on lower term time frames, and at that point, probably looking at a return back down towards maybe yesterday's low, something like that. Until then, the LARP lines continue to play out here. Maybe I should add more to them. It's probably going to be like blup, 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 something like that. Who the fuck knows? It's not supposed to be exact towards that. Sorry, it's not intended to be exact. So hopefully I don't confuse anyone with that. Anyways, going back on over here to the daily, I do want to once again reiterate that daily BBWP, again, representing volatility, is literally at, it's the lowest it can possibly go. It's literally at 0 percentile. It's at 0 percentile for now, 2, 3, 4 days, 5 days going on, which is just fucking insane. But yes, this is what you do expect before major macro moves, whether it be to the upside or the downside. This is the kind of thing that you do expect. Very reminiscent of the end of 2018, very reminiscent of the beginning of 2019, both major upside and downside breakouts and breakdowns. And then also what I wanted to reference here on the daily is that we still do have this hidden bearish divergence active. So that is active as long as Bitcoin is below 19,000. I think this is the high of the week. Let me just double check. Yeah, this was Monday, Tuesday highs, basically. As long as Bitcoin's below that region, yes, the hidden bearish divergence on the daily is still active, and theoretically speaking, does give me a little more of a downside bias, as does trend, as does our charts over here that I've gone over a million times, which we're actually not going to go over today because I don't think it's super relevant for today. Obviously, CME is not trading today, but I did want to talk about what to kind of expect on the timing of this. So let me pull up a completely fresh chart here. We'll just go to this one, the good old Bit Mexico, and what do we have? Okay, so we're on the daily time frame, and I wanted to address the question of why I still think that Bitcoin probably goes sideways here, and why I've been saying that for like the last couple weeks here, as it does start to mature within this region. Well, it's quite simply this. There is a bit of a formation going on right now. We have a descending triangle, if you want to call it such, and that is going to be with this high right here, and that's going to be connected with these slew of highs over here, basically, something like that. And so whenever we're looking at, I actually don't like to connect it like that. It really should be like this, honestly. So whenever you're looking at a pattern, especially triangular patterns, which actually do have a pretty good hit rate, especially the ascending and descending variety for Bitcoin in particular, whenever you get about 75% full, that is when these things are statistically very likely to break out. And obviously that probability of breakout, compounds and increases the closer and closer to the apex that it does get. So as of right now, I'd say that we're probably just at about that 75% marker. So I do think that, over the weekend, is it possible? Yes, probably more likely if there's going to be a breakout, it's going to happen on Monday or at earliest late Sunday for us in the Eastern Hemisphere here. But in this case, you can see that the apex comes in around the end of the first week, beginning of second week of November. So this can still go on a little bit longer, and I would not be surprised to see this spend maybe until mid this next week, or maybe even the end of this next week. So Wednesday to Friday of this coming week, for it to actually resolve itself. And ultimately, the longer that it does spend within this region, the greater the ultimate breakout or breakdown will be implied. So, if you do see a breakout to the upside, let's say, then you're probably looking at a move somewhere around like $24,000, give or take $500 from that number. If you see a move to the downside, if you see a breakout to the downside, probably looking somewhere around $15,000 to $16,000, just off the top of my head. Don't want to go super into specifics right now because I think this video should just be a little bit more on the digestible side. Wanted to give a massive shout out to Mr. Jason Pizzino, good friend, of course, and also had a nice interview on his channel yesterday it was, so check that out if you're so inclined, of which you can reference this chart over here, which I won't go over today. Won't bore you with that for the billionth time, but I suspect that chart actually really is going to start to come to fruition maybe this next coming week, probably the week after that, to be fair, probably the week after that. So cool. Yeah, that's going to be it for today. I want to be wishing you the best as always. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully soon.